Hi, welcome back to the channel again. In this video we're going to have another look at PMR, and this time we're going to have a look at emergency comms and ask the question, is PMR part of the emergency comms that we've perhaps been missing, and is it going to be more relevant after some of the weather that we've had in 2024. I'm G6PNH. If that's interesting to you, let's watch the video. Back in the 80s, when I first got my licence, I joined an organisation called RayNet, and RayNet's still going today. Well, we used to do emergency communications to help with the police. In fact, one time we got called out looking for a child, but it really helped because communications were not that good then. And we used to do things like cross-country running, help out with marshalling, all that. Then came the advent of better communications, and then we also got mobile phones, and in a way RayNet and the communications that we did weren't quite needed as much. Is that starting to change though? In 2024 we had a red weather warning, and it's one little thing really struck me from this red weather warning. It was for wind and rain, particularly down in Wales, and they said that there could be a loss of electricity, which there was, but also a loss of mobile phone communication. That will mean that your internet will be down, your mobile phones will be down, and perhaps people would need some kind of communication. Now, it's easy to poo-poo it all, you know, not in this country, but perhaps if we look at some of the lessons from other disasters and other emergency situations, maybe it is important, and maybe PMR, from some of the lessons learnt, could be quite handy, if that's the right word, to have within a household. Now the first thing I want to look at is what's happening in other areas. I've put a link in the description for an interview that Ham Radio Crash Course did. I was absolutely fixated with it, absolutely brilliant. What had happened was, somewhere in America they'd had a disaster, high winds, whatever, and it had taken out all the mobile phones, it had taken out some of the road structures, it had taken out the electricity and the water. Quite important. It was then ham radio that came into doing the communications, and how they did it was absolutely brilliant. They were lucky enough to have a repeater high up on a mountain, part of a government site. There were ham radio operators down on the ground, one family in particular, where everybody apparently in the family was a ham radio operator, so they had loads of handhelds. They then programmed the handhelds, by hand of course because there's no electricity, locked them onto one frequency and gave them out to the neighbours. There were people asking for help, they were asking for water, so on. In particular, up on the hillsides as well, people were asking. A lot of this was going through the repeater, and people outside the zone were hearing it. They were using their own personal helicopters to go and be able to deliver the aid that was needed. That was all through VHF. I've put a link on, watch it, it's brilliant. Now, I also watched another one from somebody on a ranch who, after a storm, wanted to know what was going on. And they talked about what receivers they could use. The main thing that came out of both of these was that people were picking up whatever they had. So if somebody had a CB, an old CB down in the garage, they were trying to connect it up, connect it to a battery, and off they go. And they could ask for help, or just simply ask like what's going on, or the road's open, and so on. So it struck me that one of the things that a lot of people have now through toys and through the fact that it's starting to grow is PMR. So the question is PMR the future, maybe, if that's a strong word, of emergency communications, especially with the weather changes that we're getting at the moment? So, where would PMR fit in? Well, something that came out of these videos is that you need to be able to talk locally. It's alright having HF, it's alright having specialised stuff, like Mashtastic, I'll get it right one day. But somebody needs to be able to pick up something very simple, very easy to use, and just say, I need some help. It might be, I need some water. It might be, I need some kind of a medical supply. And that, I feel, is where PMR might come in. Because it's alright having HF, and let that be part of the general organisation of how are we going to get all the aid to that area. But then you've got to think about specifically who needs that help. And if you've got people saying, I need that help, I need that kind of help, or I need that kind of help, that must be able to help the organisations decide exactly where this needs to go. And so, PMR is reasonably available. You can down to your local Argos, other companies available, store, and you can buy one, a kiddies one, I think for about £10, something like that. A more serious one, yeah, you're paying a bit more money. Or you can go on AliExpress, and if you know what you're doing, you can buy one of the Quanshangs and program your frequencies in for that. And I think the last one I bought cost me £16. Now, I thought it was such a good idea that I went and bought one for the YL, for the missus, and she carries that about whenever she's out walking the dog or anything like that, and she perhaps needs to get in contact with me should the dog run off, and she needs my help to come and run after it. Like I just mentioned, it doesn't have to be specialist stuff. It's stuff you can buy it off the shelf. But it's that knowing that you're going to buy it off the shelf. So my question is, or one of the questions for today, is the kiddies toys that you buy, do they work effectively as a PMR radio or a PMR446 radio? Are they good enough should somebody, perhaps like myself, could run a base station and pick them up locally within the town and then relay on any message that was needed? Would they be capable of doing that? Or is it a case of really you need to buy something a bit better? Now, having said that, I can hear children, usually on channel 1. I hear the parents talking to the children. in a way that's really good, because it's the start of using radio and getting into the hobby. And I do think to myself, are these the kiddies ones that they bought? The Batman or you can buy for us and things like that, and Jurassic Park ones, or is it Jurassic World now? But do they work, or do we have to spend more money? If we've got to spend more money, then perhaps it's not something that you can just pick up. Now you've also got the cons as well, and the cons are you're only got half a watt if you buy it off the shelf. The other cons is that really you do need to be prepped. So should there be an emergency, you do need to make sure that you have those batteries ready. Or if it's a rechargeable radio, you have to make sure that the radio's being charged and it's ready to go. But like I said, the thing that came out of some of the lessons learnt was that people were picking up whatever they had available. I mean, the one that I put the link onto, which is a radio crash course one, you'll see on there that fortunately they had amateur radio available. They also had a repeater. Now this leads on to my second main question, the first one being, do you think PMR is perhaps suitable for emergency comms on the basis of it's readily available to a lot of households, and it's free and it's easy to use? But the second main one is a repeater. Now I've looked at different ways of doing it. The repeater, of course, can't be mains powered, it's got to be battery powered. The repeater that was a point, you can't use it over the internet because you won't have any electricity, you'll have no internet. And the nearest ones I could find was downloading a program called Echo Station, or also there's a portable one you can use. Now downloading Echo Station means that you still got to use your laptop, so you've only got so long to do. But having said that, the other one that I've seen on AliExpress, which is more like a parrot, would work on the simplex. That has a reasonable cost to it, but it could also be portable, so if need be I could take a single radio with that parrot repeater, put it up on a hilltop nearby, ready for when something does happen, and you could perhaps make it as a go bag that you could strap down. What are your thoughts on that? Have you any ideas about PMR repeaters, which direction we could go? Because at the end of the day, the PMR repeaters can only be simplex. We only go from 446.0 to 446.2. It's not a big frequency range at all. To conclude, I basically have asked 3 questions. What's your opinion? Is PMR a possibility for using emergency communications on a local level? I'm not talking the big organisations, talking local level, where somebody can ask for something specific to a particular address. Do you think it fits in with what I've already mentioned? The second question, which was a little question, was, do the kiddies' toys work? What's your experience? And then my last question was, what about simplex repeaters? Are there any good ones out there? Is there anything better than a parrot? Or is there anything better than Echo Station? I'm G6PNH. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Look forward to hearing from you, and until next time, let me wish you the best 73s.